the Senior Director of Enrollment Development, excuse me, at Carroll Community College. So that means that I really just help students through the admissions process. You know, Steve and I both help students to talk about options, whether it would be to pursue degree program options or non-credit. We just really like to try to lay out, you know, we have many, many options available, and you don't have to understand them all walking in the door. That's what we're here for. We're going to help. We'll ask you leading questions, and then you'll answer them, and we'll help to direct you.
Hi, good afternoon. Steve Barry, Senior Director of Career and Continuing Professional Education at Carroll Community College. My role at the college is my department is responsible for the short-term certificate programs, workforce training certificate programs, and the adult education programs, as well as the apprenticeship programs we're going to talk about today.
All right, let me share the PowerPoint for you guys.
Thank you.
And you see it?
Not yet.
Not yet? Let's see. How about now?
Yep, there it is.
All right.
Okay, awesome. So as I just said, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about all of the different options that the college provides. So I'm gonna ask Steve if he wants to go ahead and get started.
Sure, thank you. So the first three bullet items here are programs that fall within continuing education and training. The first is we offer, many folks in the county don't know that we offer GED and ESOL programs at the college. These are offered when we're not in COVID. These are offered at many locations throughout the county: Mount Airy Elementary School, the Family Center, and at the Multi-Services Building or the Burke Center in downtown Westminster. We offer the GED and ESOL classes. The great part about these classes is they are free, as they are co-funded by the Department of Labor and our county commissioners. The classes roughly start every 10 weeks. We have new student orientations 4 times a year. At the orientations, the students are, given information about how the programs work. They take an assessment. It's not a pass-fail. It's just where you are in your education or your English language, and then you're placed into a class. The next part is we offer almost 35 short-term workforce training certificate programs. These programs are put in place to allow students to complete within 6 months to 1 year. They lead to licensure and certifications, and are in place to help folks get to work, into a career. I'm going to talk about which specific ones we offer in a slide coming up soon. And then last but not least, we offer the apprenticeship, 2 apprenticeship programs at Carroll, HVAC and electrical. The apprenticeship program we deem earn while you learn. The way the apprenticeship model works in Maryland is student must be employed in the trade full time. So they're earning a wage, and the wage increases as they get into years 1, years 2, years 3, years 4 of the apprenticeship program. So they're working full time, and they're going to school part time about 6 months a year, from September through April. The way the apprenticeship models work is year 1 they learn residential, years 2 they learn commercial, years 3 they learn industrial, and year 4 it kind of cobbles all of them together and prepares them for the journeyman licensing exam. More than 90% of the time, I would say, the employer pays for the apprenticeship program. So not only are students earning a living wage for the 4 years they're in the program, a progressive earning wage, they're graduating from the program debt free. So they have no college debt. This has become a very popular program at Carroll. I think this year we have, between 2 programs, over 170 students that are in the apprenticeship program between years 1 and years 4. I know Candace's going to talk about degrees. The one really nice thing about Carroll is that if a student completes our apprenticeship program, and then wants to come back and earn an Associate of Arts degree, Carroll will articulate 24 credits toward that Associate of Arts degree for the work they did in the apprenticeship program. So almost half of the degree is articulated. So I'll turn it over to Candace.
Great, thank you. So, and then we have associate degree programs. So, many students, if you want to pursue an associate degree, which is in theory a building block to go on for a bachelor's degree, it is 60 credits, which means that if you are a full-time student taking 4 or 5 classes a semester, then and you're able to be full-time, then you would take 4 semesters or 1 year to complete 30 credits, and then the second year of completing 30 credits, which can be kind of shuffled around in many different ways. We have 15-week semesters, and then we have a winter semester, which is shorter, and then we have some summer terms that are shorter. So there's a lot of different ways to get to that 60 credits pursuing a certain degree program. Cami, if you would slide forward to the next slide. Sure. It shows the different pathway programs that we have. So the idea is that you can start any degree program and then transfer on somewhere else, or you can complete an associate degree at Carroll and then, start working as well. So we have all kinds of different pathways. Often students really don't know, what they're going to study, or they might have an idea. Yeah, maybe I want to, try business. So we have a lot of exploring programs, and during your first semester, what you'll do is you would meet with an academic advisor who is dedicated and knows everything about business, for example, or maybe they know everything about business and computer technology. So when you call and you say, I'm interested in pursuing a degree, we'll try to ask you some questions about, what do you think you might be interested in? You don't need to know, but your first semester, we will help you to pick classes and choose classes that are going to give you a good sense or a good idea of what might be a good fit for you, and then we'll make adjustments very quickly if it's not the right fit. So we have many different pathway programs. You can start any degree at Carroll if that's a direction you want to go in. Full-time students, like I said, it takes 2 years to complete an entire associate degree, but many students, of course, are going to be part-time. They may be taking 1 or 2 classes at a time simply because you're working, you have other responsibilities and obligations, especially during this time. If kids are home and you're trying to homeschool them with taking classes, so there's all different ways, and it's really you're moving at your own pace and your own timeline, and we will help you to plot that all out. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but really, students are going to have an advisor that's helping them through every single step of the way while plotting these things out. Okay, we can move to the next slide.
And these are the short-term workforce training certificates I talked about a few slides ago. So like within the credit programs, we offer different industry sectors as well. So with the exception of one program, all of these classes or courses can be completed within 6 months to a year. So we offer class certificates in animal control and care, so think veterinary assistant. We offer the 90-hour certificate that folks can earn to go to work in childcare. We have a new, it's not new now, it's about 4 years now. We have a commercial drone pilot workforce training certificate program. No pun intended, but it's really taken off. When students finish this program, they have the ability to go out and work commercially and earn a living in the drone industry. Personal fitness instructor, healthcare is probably where the most of our certificates are. So think medical assistant, CNA, GNA, phlebotomist, pharmacy technician, EKG technician. The healthcare programs, the interesting thing about those is that most of them have a clinical experience involved. So medical assistant, for example, has 2 clinical rotations where they go out and work in a medical office. Our phlebotomy students, when they finish the theory piece, go out and work in the hospital, and they have to have 100 successful blood draws in order to earn the certificate. Most of our students are eventually hired by the clinical rotations they go to. Media production, real estate, trades, and transportation. With transportation, we have a MOU with Hagerstown Community College where folks can earn their CDLA or CDLB. And there is grant opportunities associated with CDL with both CDLA and CDLB. For the trades program, I already talked about our apprenticeship programs, but within the last few years, we have rolled out an HVAC technician program and an electrical helper program, so more of the basic skills in the trades. And our hope is that those students eventually transition into the apprenticeship programs. All of our certificate programs, when students complete them successfully, earn a digital badge. What the digital badge is, so if one of our students applies for a job, they can send their digital badge electronically to the potential employer, and it outlines all the competencies that they learned while they were in our certificate program. In addition to that, it also has a very robust job search tool where the students can put in a certain mile range around their home address, and the system will then match their competencies to job offers that are available right now that are looking for those same skills.
All right.
We do offer on a monthly basis a career choices class, or not a class, a presentation. So we have a certified career counselor on our staff, Beth Lee, and once a month she offers this class where students can come in and she can ask, like Candace said earlier, some intentional questions, some leading questions, and recommend to the student which workforce training certificate might be best suited for them.
Mhm.
These are right now being held remotely, so it's even more easier to attend them. You don't have to drive to college, and they're all offered in the evening to allow for folks who work during the day. I'll turn it over to Candace.
Great, thank you. So you can see this is all about support again. So anything that we're talking about really is offered both in, the non-credit area and the credit area. We have a full-time director of career development that works in the student affairs area. So you can schedule appointments. We're here to help you figure things out. So many ways to do different assessments, to get ideas, to help. She will help you talk through different things, have you take inventories to help figure out, what's the right direction. So there's a lot of support there. Dedicated advising, like I said before, just means that you're going to meet with an academic advisor who's going to lead you through along the way. So if you're trying to pursue a degree at Carroll, they will help you to develop your schedule that's going to work for you every semester. It can always be modified, but it's just making sure it's just a checkpoint, so that you don't have to make sure that you are figuring everything out on your own and worrying about, do I have the right credits? Do I have the right classes? There's going to be someone that does that with you. And then they also help if, for example, you want to transfer on for a bachelor's degree once you finish at Carroll. The sooner you know that, if that's what you want to do, then they will help you also plan for that next step. So if you know coming into Carroll that you're going to earn an associate's degree in computer science, for example, computer technology, cybersecurity, and then you want to transfer on to UMBC, they'll help you with that plan so that everything that you're taking at Carroll is going to go with you and you're going to know exactly how it'll be applied to the next step. The other thing that's really important is that our class sizes are very small. So in general, now things are a little bit different, which I'll talk about in a moment. Things are a little bit different in how you're accessing your classes right now, but there's built-in support in all of your classes because for a credit class, the average size is about 20 students, and for continuing education and training classes, it's much smaller in most cases. You're talking about, less than 10, less than 8. In a credit level class, maybe about 20. Some classes are going to be bigger, but the idea is that you're going to really have the opportunity to get to know your instructor, to get help and support from your instructor and your teacher, and you're also going to get to know the other students in your class because, it's conducive to that. So you're going to have that built-in network of support with your teacher and with other students in the class. And then the other thing is that sometimes you just need extra help and extra support. So we have tutoring and academic services, which means that, I'm taking a math class, for example, right? And my instructor's doing a great job and I'm going to class and I'm doing my homework, but you know what? I just need someone else to explain it to me differently. that's really what tutoring is for. You know, sometimes you just need to hear it in a different way, spend more time, more focused on a specific topic, things like that. So we have tutoring that is included in your tuition. So it's not extra. It's just, you know, something that you have the advantage, the opportunity to take advantage of for any classes that you're taking. And then there's all kinds of support in the academic center to help students, you know, with research, with writing papers, with editing. So if you're writing a paper, you can submit it to someone to review and give you some feedback and comments so that you can make edits and adjustments to it before you turn it in for an actual grade in your class. So there's a lot of different opportunities available like that to students to take advantage of. I think we'll probably move on to the next slide.
There you go.
Thank you.
Sure.
So we have the Littlest Learners Child Care Center on campus. So you can take advantage if you need it of childcare that is available. There is a lot of different tuition rates, but you do get discounted tuition if you are a student. There's half-day childcare, there's full-day childcare, there's all different kinds of options, weekly, half days, weekly, full days, things like that. I know that Ms. Plank will send out an email afterwards with a whole chart that shows the cost pricing. Also, you don't need to be a student it's for 2 to 4 year olds. So if you have a child that's 2 to 4 years old and you need services, you don't need to be a student at the college either. It is open to the public. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. So the community can take advantage of the childcare on campus, regardless of whether or not they're a student.
Candace, I'm also going to just pop in here real quick
Please
because
do. Yeah.
the MSDE also has childcare subsidies, which are actually like a grant that families can apply for. So we can also help families with those, and those are accepted through Littlest Learners as well. So not only are the rates going to apply, but also we can help with getting that childcare scholarship filled out as well to help.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah.
I've thought about that one last night after our session.
That's okay. Now we know. Okay, so class types are being offered in many different ways at this point. So we do have classes that are being offered in person on campus, you know, as long as it's safe, you know, we're going to continue in that way. So class sizes are, you know, say there was 10 people in a class, for example, it would be cut in half at this point. So we're being very, very safe. The instructor and everyone in the classroom would be wearing masks, everyone spread out very safely. So if you were to register for a class that was happening on campus, everything is going to be safe, following very, very strict and conservative protocols. So we are holding in-person classes, not nowhere near the amount that we used to be, but we definitely are offering in-person classes. A lot of our classes are going to be offered in this type of format. They're called remote synchronous. So if you go to register for a class, you're going to be logging in usually at a certain time. You know, maybe you're taking a class on Monday and Wednesday, for example, or you're just taking a one-day training class that would be offered through continuing education and training. You would log in at a certain time, and then your course instruction would be happening just like it is right now. That's the most popular way that things are being, or most frequent way, I should say, things are being offered. And then we have fully online classes that happen in different ways between credit and non-credit. But the idea with a fully online class is that it's asynchronous, and it means that you're going to log in kind of to a portal, and you're going to have all of your work outlined, right? And then you're going to do it kind of at your own pace. So the difference between what we're doing right now, remote synchronous, where you're having the live instruction, but in a remote location, and then there's online classes that you're going to do the work at your own pace. You're going to have deadlines, you're going to have timelines and things like that. But within the day and when you're going to actually do your work, you know, 10 o'clock at night is the best time for you to sit down and really focus. That's when you can do that. So those are really the differences. And then classes are all different lengths. So if you're looking at credit classes or a degree program, a regular term, like the spring term that will be starting in February, is 15 weeks long. So you're taking a class for 15 weeks that usually meets twice a week for like an hour and a half kind of thing. And it's about 10 to 12 hours of time commitment per class, you know, to do extra work outside, reading assignments, projects, and things like that. So when students take one class, we say you want to expect to spend about 10 hours-ish a week on that class. Or you might be taking an accelerated class that's going to be really focused, but you'll only be doing one class at a time. I want to give Steve a chance to talk about anything there.
Thanks, Candace. No, like Candace said, CET classes are offered in the same format right now. Prior to 2020, online was not something that continuing education and training embraced. But with the COVID situation, all of our workforce training certificates have been converted to either fully online or hybrid. So many of our healthcare classes and our drone program need resources that are on campus. So, for dental assistant, we have a dental lab on campus. For phlebotomy, we have a phlebotomy lab on campus. Same with farm tech, and of course we have fly drones on campus. So we've converted those classes to hybrids. So students are taking the theory component online, and then they're doing their practical work on campus. Where they don't need access to campus resources right now, we're fully online. And the remote synchronous, as Candace had mentioned. And the last bullet point there is just to reiterate, most of our workforce training certificate programs are completed in 6 months to a year, with the exception of the apprenticeship programs, which are 4 years in length. So they're built to allow the students to come in, learn the competencies they need to pass the licensure or certification exam and get started in their career.
So we're going to talk about exact costs, I think, in a few minutes, but just so everyone knows, there's a lot of different ways to manage the cost for any classes. There's financial assistance, there's payment plan options. So as students register for classes, you'll be billed basically, and then you can either pay tuition, the full tuition amount. You can apply for tuition assistance. We'll talk about financial aid in a few minutes, or you can spread out payments via a payment plan. So, say whatever the cost of your class is $500, you would be able to spread that out over 5 or 6 monthly payments to make it a little bit more manageable, not necessarily reduce cost, but there are many different options, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And then the other thing just to be aware of is that if you're working toward a degree program, tuition cost is going to be at a lower level than other places, because the county and the state help to subsidize students that are taking classes in their community. So community colleges are subsidized by the state and the county to make the cost more affordable than it would be otherwise if you are a resident of that county. So you'll get the lowest cost available at the community college of the county that you live in. The cost is a little bit more if you're out of county or out of state. So there's different pricing, but for in-county residents, it's going to be the best value that you can receive. I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. So the application process, you do have to apply to Carroll Community College. The great news is that we are open enrollment, and that means everyone is accepted no matter what. So if you want to take classes at Carroll, you are going to be able to take classes at Carroll. So if you're going to take either one class or a couple classes or a full degree program at Carroll, you fill out an application. It's fully online. There's no cost. It's free. And then what we do is we help you to determine, usually we'll have a meeting with you kind of like this. You'll meet with an advisor or an admissions counselor. We'll ask you some questions to help direct you to determine, are you eligible just to start registering for classes? Or maybe do you need to provide some test scores or something like that to show that you are ready to take classes, or do you need to take a placement test? And a placement test for classes at the community college just help to determine where you begin. So you cannot fail them. It's not like, oh, I'm going to pass, or I'm not going to pass this and I'm not going to be able to go. It's just, we want to make sure that you are starting at the level of English class or math class that you need to start at. So it's just to help us to put you in the right spot so that you can be successful. So that's really the first step. And then you'll meet with the advising office, a dedicated advisor who is the content expert sort of in the area that you are looking to study, like I was talking about earlier. And generally our classes, like our next will begin February 1st, February 2nd, oh gosh, I don't have the date off the top of my head, February 1st or 2nd, right around there. And so that's a 15-week term. And so that would be, if you're looking to, get started in a degree path, that would be what you would be shooting for, and you can register anytime leading up to when a term begins. And then in the fall semester, our term usually begins the very late August or early September. And so registration would begin for that term in April, and it's just ongoing until classes fill up or the term begins. Okay, we can move to the next one.
Hi, so within continuing education and training, registrations can be done in person and online at the URL listed there. If you live in Carroll County, you get one of our balanced brochures in your mailbox 3 times a year. This one is our fall brochure, which has classes that run through December or so. Our winter spring brochure was just shipped to the college and should be hitting your mailboxes within the next few weeks. Once again, if you live in Carroll County, when you first open it up, the table of contents describes or tells you where our workforce training certificate programs can be found. And then beyond that is the actual schedule of classes. I would be remiss if I don't give a shout out to our lifelong learning division. We offer many classes for personal enrichment, things like that. So think art and photography and you know, when we have the ability to go back to a non-COVID world, a lot of cooking classes and things alike. All of our classes have what I call it rolling admissions. So we're not semester based. We just schedule classes back to back. So if a class ends, say, mid-July, our next series of classes will probably start 2 weeks later. So we're not semester based or term based. We just constantly offer programs on a rolling basis. There is no application for non-credit. Basically, you just fill out a registration form for the class. And with the exception of very few classes or certificate programs, we don't require the entrance testing for our programs. You just sign up, register, and then take the class. I think we're good for the next slide.
All right.
Okay, so financial aid, everyone's favorite topic, is a process if you're going to pursue a degree program. There's a process that you can apply for financial assistance. And so it's called the FAFSA. It's a free application for federal student aid. And so there's a lot of assistance available, actually, and a lot of it is based on your family situation, your family income, how many people live in your household, things like that. The good news is that our financial aid office wants to help you fill this out. So it can be an overwhelming process because it's a form that feels overwhelming and you're not familiar with. And if you know what you're doing, it's a lot more easy and seamless to fill out. So our financial aid office will help you answer the questions. If you're not sure how to, plug in information into this form, they will just be able to tell you easily, oh, here's where you need to look on your tax documents, things like to find this out. So in order to get financial assistance at the credit level, this is really the first step in the process. You fill out this form and hopefully, you might be eligible for some need-based aid, which means that, kind of based on your family income and the government formula that is applied to household family members, things like that. They'll say maybe you're eligible for this much need-based income, which means the government is going to give you X amount of money towards your education every year. And that is not anything that you need to pay back. It would just be based on, the income level that you're at. And then minimally, it will help you to be eligible for scholarships. So there's scholarships that you can apply for. So the first step is filling out the form. If you're not eligible for need-based aid, then there's other merit-based scholarships, other awards that are available just, based on the major that you're pursuing even, or a certain high school that you've gone to, or there's all kinds of scholarships that are available that come from funding from donors that live in the community. So maybe you're pursuing a nursing program or, a dental program or something like that. And there's a scholarship available for those majors, then you would be maybe eligible for some assistance that way. So the bottom line is there's a process that you are going to follow. You're going to fill out this federal form basically to start the process, and the financial aid office will walk you through the entire thing. And they're there to help provide assistance because unless you do it all the time, it can be, a little bit tricky, and they want to help students make sure they'd much rather help you on the front end, make sure that you fill it out the right way, so that you are in good shape when you are, what assistance you will have. You'll know what exact cost will be when you go to register for your classes. Okay, that's it.
So for non-credit classes or those workforce training certificate programs I've been talking about, most of them are not eligible for federal funding because they're short term. We have several different internal and external ways to help offset the cost. The first is the Business and Economic Resource Center, or BERC, which is located in the multi-services building across from the county office building. We maintain a list of different certificate programs where they can help fully fund a student to take the certificate program if they meet the requirements. Through the Department of Labor, we have what we call a Workforce Development Sequence grant or scholarships. This helps offset the cost, around 80% of the cost of the certificate program. Maryland Promise Grant is also available to our non-credit students. If a student doesn't qualify for any of the above, we do offer internal tuition assistance through our foundation office. Our medical assistant program, because it is over 600 hours, is eligible for Pell Grant funding. And then we also offer affordable payment plans. So you put a certain percentage of the cost of the class down, and then the rest of the cost is spread out over a series of months. Beth Lee is our manager of student support, and she is in charge of all of these. With the exception of Burke, she's in charge of all of these financial resources, and she can be reached at the phone number that is on your slide right now. And I should have put it on there, but her email is blee@carrollcc.edu. I think ready for the next slide.
Okay, thank you. So if you're taking a class working toward a degree, the in-county cost for one class, most classes are 3 credits. Many math and science classes and some other classes as well would be 4 credits, but most college level classes are 3. And the total cost for that is $516 if you're taking one class. And the equivalent to 30 credits, if you're a full-time student over 1 year, would be about $5,100 for tuition. And so we've already talked about all the different ways that you can break that up for payment, but that would be the total cost of tuition for 1 year. And then the additional cost would be books and supplies. That's not included. So the cost of books and supplies can really vary, but one thing to note is that there are many instructors, many faculty members using free resources at this point. So they really are very aware, that books can be expensive. And so they really are trying to help reduce the cost to students after tuition by using as many free and open resources online for classes to help with their instruction as possible. So the cost is going to be a bit based amount, So the cost is going to be based on how many credits that you take, right? So if you're taking one class, it'll be 516, and it's just multiplied for every class that you're taking. So you're only paying for what you're taking. And then, it's really at your own pace. You take one class a semester, you take 2, 3, 4. We'll help you figure all those things out based on what your goals are and what your individual timeline is. And it's really just up to, what the student can do. So we will help you figure those things out for sure.
All right, I'm going to unshare.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Steve and Candace? Feel free to turn your cameras on and your microphones and ask away. Staff as well.
Yep.
I wanted to know more about the dental assistant training and how that would work.
So the classes are offered during the evening. They're broken up into 2 parts. The first part is like it's just based on the fundamentals of dental assisting, and then the second part is how to take X-rays. We have a fully functional dental lab. The chairs are what you would see in a dental office. They have the instruments there that do the air and the water. We have Dentrix heads that are actually on the chairs. So when if you walk into the classroom and you turn the lights on, and if you don't know they're there, they will scare you. So you can take the teeth in and out. You practice doing molding and x-rays and things like that. The x-ray arms aren't functional. They're the same x-ray arms you would find in a dental office, but because of insurance purposes, they're not functional. And at the end of the program, you go down into Howard County to the Maryland State Dental Association and actually take your certification exam. The classes are offered in the evening, roughly around 6 months to complete. There's not a clinical component with that class, but we do have a lot of dental offices in the area that are looking for our completers because they know the quality of the programs.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was completely online or not because of everything that was going on.
Well, right now we're offering it in a hybrid format. So it's a part of the class. The theory component you're taking from home, remote synchronously like this, but then we actually have you come to the classroom, so you can practice using the equipment that's required there. So you get to work with the chair, the dentrix heads, the X-ray arm. We have molding machines there where you can do molds for things like that.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
I have a question. My name is Viviana Calderon, and I work at the Judy Center. I work with Hispanic families. I would like to know if I know for sure that the exams or tests for GED are in English, but what about classes? Are just in English or maybe in Spanish too?
For GED?
Yes.
I believe all of the GED classes are in English.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And the other piece that goes with that, Viv, too, is that we can work with Carroll Literacy Council to have them support families with some tutoring beforehand before they ever go over to the college. So we can talk about that if you want.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
As things come up, I usually, hang up from a meeting. Oh gosh, I wish I would have asked that question. You certainly can contact us anytime. We're happy to follow up with anything that comes up after this.
And Shantia, I'm going to send you a little survey afterwards. And of course you have Robin to help. But it'll ask for your feedback, and then it'll ask you if you want anyone from the college to reach back out, or if you want someone like Robin from the Judy Center to help you navigate this a little bit more. So when you get that, if you would just fill that out for us, that would be great. Viviana, did you have another question?
Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to ask you, like, for people that don't have paper, like migration papers, they can enroll at the community college?
Is a question, I'm sorry, the question is about, are you eligible to enroll at the college?
If the families that
Have
don't
migration
have